We aim to misbehave in this week's episode all about Firefly and Serenity. Crack open a nice craft beer with us as we discuss one of our Gorham favorite sci-fi series of all time. Welcome to the Wreck My Podcast. We're going to start. I want to welcome you to another episode of the Wreck My Podcast. This week, we actually have plugs. So if you want to follow us on the Wreck My Podcast official Twitter and Instagram, the handle is Wreck My Podcast, displayed right here. Editing. And if you want to follow any of us on our personal social media outlets, follow us here. And if I do my job correctly, they should all be in the description as well. If you're watching this on the YouTube channel right now, thank you. But be sure to click that subscribe button because I need validation.
Don't we all?
Oh, yes. Also, if you can't handle looking at my awkward face or our awkward faces, you can also listen to the audio-only version of this on Libsyn right now. We will be having iTunes podcast app soon, but as of right now, it's not there. But go ahead and go check that out. Oh, I'm out of breath. That's a lot of stuff to say.
That was quick.
I never say plugs.
You want me to take your blood pressure?
Yeah, take my blood pressure real quick. All right, so this week we have a shiny episode all about the Gone Too Soon television show Firefly and its movie counterpart, Serenity. We are cheating the premise a little bit of the show because we just want to kind of get together and discuss something that we enjoy rather than challenging our perception of it per se. But for those of you listening at home, you run the risk of having this amazing franchise wrecked if you haven't seen it yet. And if you haven't,
spoiler alert,
go away, watch it. It's like 12 episodes in a movie. Then come back and listen to it, and you'll thank us.
He's pretty good.
Yeah, so there's my loose tie into the show of how we're making this work so we can talk about Serenity.
Right? It's 12 of the most amazing, addicting...
Oh, yeah.
Ruin your life for about a week because that's all you're going to be thinking about.
Seriously. It was gone way too soon. I think I just got really loud all of a sudden.
Did you?
Hey guys. So yeah, it went way too soon. It's amazing episodes, but you're going to be depressed afterwards because you're going to be like, I want more. Yeah. And then you're going to watch the movie and then you're going to be depressed after that because you want more.
The content is so good.
It is amazing.
Yeah. Oh my goodness.
I never understood why it just like ended, you know?
Well, I mean, when did it come out? 2001? It just didn't get a good viewer base back then.
Well, I mean, there was the complication with the order of the episodes that were released, where they were released in, it was a chronologic show where one show more or less led into the other, and Fox released them in an incorrect order, so you couldn't follow the story, and things would not make sense. You go, wait a minute, didn't this happen last week or at last episode? And so it just didn't make sense. So that's why people didn't watch it, because it didn't make sense. The timeline didn't make sense.
And I'm glad you brought that up because that was actually one of my points I was going to bring up later. Is that's kind of the reason why it didn't work out. Is that the pilot was actually the last episode to air on television because they did it by what they thought branding wise would work better. That, like you said, they threw away the whole idea of continuity and was just like, whatever, what do we think is going to make more viewership this week rather than what is actually going to make this show last, you know? So we have a little bit of a smaller cast today, but we're not low on personality.
No.
We see a familiar face down there, Kreger. He's been on a few podcasts as well, but this is a new face. This
Hello.
is Tim. So tell us a little bit about yourself, Tim. What's your shoe size? What's your social security number? What's your mother's maiden name?
My mother's maiden name is Worm, and that would no, I'm serious. It is
Worm, like the animal.
WORM. It is
nice.
Yes.
All right.
Well, you asked. No, I've known Jordan since early high school.
Yep.
Kreger not quite as long. But kind of to apply to this episode, I would call myself a closet nerd. And I've kind of used that term for a long time because I've always been like, big in sports, big in social things, big in like working out and fitness and, doing like obstacle course races and everything. But I've got this odd nerdy side to me where I do completely get obsessed with sci-fi and fantasy things where it's like people typically see me and be like, oh, that guy likes a good Bruce Willis movie, And then it's like, no.
And I feel like your level of nerd is very deep cut too. Like you've turned me on to some things where even most nerds wouldn't even know what that is. Like there's a lot of podcast stuff that you've turned me on to.
Oh,
You're
my
really into
gosh.
like the creepypasta style of stuff now. Like very indie horror sci-fi type stuff, which is pretty cool.
Can I?
Yeah, plug it.
Okay, so if you guys have a podcast, whether it's the Apple Podcast or Spotify or one of the other things, I don't know if Audible does podcasts, but check out the No Sleep Podcast. If you like horror stuff, if you like creepy stories done with great sound effects, great musicianship, and then, if that's a word, I don't even know, and great voice acting, the No Sleep Podcast, it's run by David Cummings. You can find it on Spotify real easily. Check it out. There's 10 seasons. They're coming to the end of their 10th season right now. Each season is an hour and a half to 2 hours long. Amazing. Just listen to it.
And you told me one too, King Falls AM.
King Falls AM, yes. King Falls. Oh, Sammy and Ben. Okay, King Falls AM is great. I just started listening to them. It's a podcast based out of 2 AM reporters, DJs, I guess, AM radio DJs in a small not that DJ. In a small mountain town, and the mountain town somewhere America has a bunch of creepy things, supernaturally things that happen in there.
Would you akin it to Twin Peaks, but audio version?
Yes, in a way, but what a big focus of King Falls is actually comedy. So they do this really great juxtaposition of the creepiness that is kind of like a Twin Peaksy type of thing, but with the comedy of the various personalities that will call into the AM show and then the workings of this small town. King Falls AM and the No Sleep Podcast. Go listen to them now if you're a podcast person.
And there's a few more that you've turned me on to, but for the sake of brevity, we won't get into that.
I could go.
I know.
I could go for 45 minutes.
I mean, you've already sold me because I've been meaning to start like listening to more podcasts because I'm like the epitome of a sports nerd. I just listen to AM radio, like 570 and 710, just from 6 a.m. To like 3 p.m. That's just what I listen to. And
Krieger has a lot of sports knowledge, that's for sure. So, and also Tim's got a new thing going on in life. He was engaged more recently, if recently is within the past year. Yeah. And you have that wedding planning going on, and that's got to be a chore.
Well, so recently I'm going to be getting married in May, and my fiance and I, we're both still academics at this point. My fiance, she's getting her master's in social work, so she's actually doing great things, and she's going to do great things for communities. I just recently got into nursing school, so I'm in the middle of that right now. On top of that, we're trying to save money because we have to pay for school, so we're planning our own wedding. I would never, ever recommend, trying to plan your own wedding. Just hire somebody.
Yeah.
Just
go to
hire
J&M Entertainment, where my wife works here in Santa Clarita, California.
That plug, though.
There you go. That's perfect. Yeah, that was a long con right there to get that plug in.
Now, I will say though, it's been an amazing experience. They say you really get to know a lot about your partner, and you get to know your partner during the wedding planning phase, where how you're dealing with all these stressful variables. And I got to say, it's like I've gotten so much closer to my fiance.
Have you guys gotten into a big fight about it, or it's been?
No, actually.
That's good.
We've had some disagreements where we've kind of been a little frustrated, but nothing large.
Yeah, that's good. You don't want those things, like they always say for your wedding day, it's like just plan on something going wrong. Like nothing's going to go right. So as long as you're in that mindset where it's like, look, we're getting married, that's all that matters. Yeah. Everything else can come secondary. We want it to go as good as possible, but the fact that it's going to be perfect is not happening.
Yeah, and we actually made a few decisions based on that complication or that anticipated complication where we're trying to figure out food and her family, what they prefer, what my family, what they prefer. And then I was like, you know what? Let's just get a taco truck.
Yeah.
Let's just get a taco truck. We don't have to worry about it.
Everyone loves taco trucks. And if they don't belong in your family.
I mean, also,
kick them out.
With that whole thing, if it's someone you're really going to spend the rest of your life with, the things are going to be a little bit easier than with like the average person because you're that cohesion that you want to have.
Oh, for sure.
So that also is going to bring out that part.
What does it say? Smooth seas never make a skillful sailor.
Very good. We got Proverbs going on here. Fortune cookie.
You can find me at the corner of Santa Monica Boulevard yelling nonsensical wisdoms at people.
And the Lotto numbers are.
And so finally, the last thing I want to mention here is we have beer, as
Yes,
you
we
can
do.
see. And the reason that is because Tim and I were talking the other day, and you highly recommended to me this one here, the Scorpion Bowl
Yes.
IPA by Stone.
Yes.
So I thought we had to check it out, and Tim was nice enough to bring along some other good stuff that we got going on
we
here.
weren't just gonna have that.
Yeah, just that. One will not do.
Yeah.
So that's like another thing me and you kind of have in common
Mm-hmm.
is our beer palate. We've been to a lot of beer fests together.
Yes.
Most of what we do is going out and getting a nice beer and everything. And that's a great way to plug my Untapped account if you want to check that out. I have over 1,100 different beers I've tried so far.
11?
And
He's
I
not
bet,
kidding.
and I'm
I've
not
seen
kidding.
it.
I think I have like 1,169 right now, and I believe that you probably beat me by a lot. Just you're not as OCD as me, so you don't keep track of all of them on Untapped.
Major dedication because
Yeah.
I downloaded it because you showed me.
Yeah.
And I tried it. And I'm like, I ain't got the patience for this.
Yeah,
No,
I'm
just gonna
literally
drink
that
it,
guy
you
at the
know?
beer fest where I'll go get a beer, I drink it, and the first thing I do is pop out, boop. All right, done that
I'm
one.
just also way too nice, so everything's like a 4.5.
I,
Like if it's a really bad,
It gave me
maybe a 2.
severe diarrhea, but it tasted good.
I've
Had a
4.5.
label.
I skew pretty high too. Like I don't think I go below a 2.
Well,
I think
I
I
mean,
gave Bud Light like a 2 because I'm like they're trying.
It has bubbles.
Yeah, it tastes
They
like
gotta get a
something.
star for bubbles.
Gonna get you drunk.
Exactly. So I think what we're going to do then, as we said, we're going to talk about Firefly and Serenity, and then we're going to talk a little bit about beer. So what we're going to do is we're going to pop the tops right now. We're going to pour ourselves a nice little glass. We're going to try some stuff out. I got my keys right here.
Perfect.
And
panicked.
so then we will start going into the main body of the show
Yes.
in a second.
Yes. Yeah, let's as far as the Scorpion Bowl, let's do the Scorpion Bowl all three. Because Scorpion Bowl, my favorite beer for the longest time was the Stone's Delicious, Stone Brewery Delicious. And it is just, it's brewed to remove gluten, actually.
Oh, wow.
And it's amazing. I think it's the perfect IPA. But then I had the Scorpion Bowl, and it's just this one took the cake, and I couldn't really describe exactly why, but this is just a phenomenal IPA. If you're an IPA person, you haven't had this before, have you?
I have not had this before,
Okay.
and I will
Have you
give
had
you
this?
I will give you a quick rundown of what it is. It's 7.5 ABV. The IBUs, which they usually have on here for Stone, I'm surprised they don't have the IBUs on here. Actually,
ABV, for those who don't know, is alcohol percentage.
yeah, and IBUs are International Bitter Units. Well, they're probably high because it's an IPA by Stone.
Yes.
So the tagline is a punch to the stinger. So let's give it a quick try, real quick, and let's see what we got going here. Oh, you all get to listen to that sweet sound of the first sip.
Ooh,
Right?
That's pretty good.
really
Yeah.
good.
That is not hoppy at all. That is very
No.
floral and citrusy. I like that.
Yeah, it's let's see.
I love that.
Yeah, that's very pleasant.
Yeah,
That definitely punched my stinger.
Well, no. Like, I'm a little bit.
Yes.
I'm a little bit like pleasantly surprised because I feel like nowadays, like brewers just like, all right, people love IPAs. Let's make them as bitter and smacky.
Well, they're like,
as they
let's
can."
let's quadruple hop
Yeah.
and then
Like,
throw
yeah.
even more hops, and then let's
Yeah.
put 50 billion hops in there. And
It's just
yeah,
like,
it's a little crazy. The whole new thing I'm realizing is what I like to call the Nebraska IPA. It's New England, but they all put any IPA now.
Okay.
And I'm always like, can I try your Nebraska IPA? And no one really likes it when I ask that at breweries.
Well,
but
that's because no one lives in Nebraska.
hey, I have a few family members that live in
shout out to
Nebraska.
Nebraska.
Yep.
But yeah, that's like the new thing now is like the New England IPAs where it's all hazy and unfiltered and
Yeah.
stuff. And I'm like, all right, we're just taking it the next step to the next step to the next step.
Well, it was like there was just recently. It was the Extreme Beer Festival.
Oh, you told me
Yes,
about it
and
where
that-
like everything's above 10% or
Yeah,
something.
there were beers. Now, if anybody hasn't, listening hasn't been to a beer festival, it's you get your little 2-ounce plastic cup or whatever, and you go to all these brewery tents, and it's an all-you-can-drink type of thing, right? So you can get destroyed. I mean, really messed up there. But usually at a regular beer festival, there's beers that are 2% to maybe 8 at the most.
Yeah.
This Extreme Beer Festival, I saw it and I wanted to go, but then I saw that the majority of the beer's alcohol percentage was like 12 and up. Now at an all-you-can-drink.
Yeah, and it was what, 3 hours, like normal? I think
3,
you were
4
showing it to me
hours?
at the last
Yeah.
beer fest you went to.
I remember reading that, and I was in the hospital. I wasn't in the.
He drank too much tonight.
No,
He was at the other extreme beer festival.
I work at a hospital. But and I showed some of my coworkers. I'm like, people are gonna die.
Yeah.
Like, people are straight going to die at this
For sure.
thing.
Because you really don't limit your, like, when it's like going to a buffet. Everyone at a buffet overeats. So when it's all you can drink, you're going to overdrink.
Well, I mean, every beer fest we've been to, we've overdrank.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I mean, not like,
No, most of them, by the time you get
dangerously,
to the end of it, it's because most of the time we go to beer fest and then we're like staying close by so we can walk or we Uber.
definitely need an Uber.
Yeah,
Dude,
exactly.
you guys
So
did one here in Santa Cruz like a year ago or so.
No.
which one was here
someone die?
a year ago?
No.
You mean the one that's on
was
Main
at-
Street,
no,
the
one that was at
Belgian one?
Central Park.
Oh yeah, I was there. I was there with you.
Like,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
what, like I literally you go with someone who isn't as big of a beer fan, so you drink yours and most of theirs, and so you get the twofer, and it's it doesn't end well.
No.
You're
Hey, if-
manipulating the relationship at that
you can
point.
move a little closer to that mic too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you're perfect
Speaking
right
what
there,
you-
right in
you
there. So yeah, beer fest fun, but not when they're extreme and want to kill you. What would you say, since we're on the topic of beer? Let's maybe talk about the beer first, real quick, since I was gonna save that for the end. But so a few questions. What do you think your favorite beer style and brewery is? Both of you.
Do you want to start?
Sure. My favorite style is definitely the stouts and porters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I don't know, they tend to taste better. I'm a huge chocolate and like coffee fan, so just the notes of those are usually very prominent in them. They're a little bit easier to drink, a little on the heavy side, which is kind of hinders it a little bit, but they're very smooth, easy to drink. I feel like they are very pairable with certain foods. And stuff
Yeah,
like that.
I agree with you. I'm a huge fan of the stouts and porters just
Yeah.
because I like that chocolate, coffee flavor
Yeah.
and everything.
Yeah, and it seems like with those you can go more. You can add more flavors.
Oh,
like alternate flavors that aren't beer flavors, such as vanilla, coffee, chocolate,
Cinnamon.
caramel, peanut
I
butter, cinnamon.
just went to a bottle share at Pocock last Monday, and they had one there that tasted like straight cinnamon. It was a Bottle Logic beer. I forget what it was called, but Bottle Logic, they do some very interesting things with their beers.
Was it like Big Red kind of cinnamon Fireball, or was it more
no.
like cinnamon
like
roll?
cinnamon rolls,
Like,
like you would,
Christmassy
yeah, like Christmas, like you
So
the
the good
cinnamon
kind
you
of
would
cinnamon.
put like in your oatmeal or something,
Okay,
like
okay.
that kind of cinnamon taste.
Then you got to go down to Belching Beaver in San Diego.
Oh yeah,
Yes.
I was gonna say that's my favorite brewery,
Yeah, they had
Belching
a,
Beaver.
they had
Well, I'll check it out. I am planning on going down to a Padres game, so
Oh,
my,
yeah.
my new lady
Stop
used to
off
work
there,
for
man.
Padres, so
Oh, wow.
cheap tickets.
There you go.
Good.
But what about you, Tim? Favorite style?
Favorite style is definitely going to be IPA.
Okay.
And as far as my favorite brewery and favorite beer, I mean, I already mentioned it, the Delicious from Stone. Favorite brewery, I mean, I've gone down to San Diego a lot. They've got a ton of breweries down there.
Oh yeah, that's the mecca.
It really is. Oh man, don't make me make a decision.
It's like picking your favorite child.
I know.
I'm getting you ready because
Well,
you have
no.
to pick your favorite child.
I would definitely be able to pick my favorite child. It's the one that I have to wake up for less.
We're talking to you,
Who
little Steven,
doesn't
in
pee the
future.
bed the
Yeah,
most?
no, exactly. Honestly, I'd probably say Stone is really good. Yeah, I'd probably go with Stone.
So with that actually brings me into my next question.
Oh, I
so
knew it.
Do you think that Stone has gotten too big and commercialized now? Because Stone used to be the flagship for craft beer.
Yes.
But now they're in every grocery store. Do you think that's necessarily a bad thing? Or do you think it's hindering their ability to do stuff? How do you feel about that?
Absolutely not.
Okay.
And because they opened up the world to craft brewing, and you're not your standard Corona, your standard Bud Light, for a while that was really only the most diverse kind of beer you would really get would be like a Sam Adams, which is still really good in its own right. Especially the Boston and their Oktoberfest. Sam Adams, I love those.
Or you
two
would
beers.
go imported stuff, like you would get like
Yes.
beers from Germany or whatever.
Yeah, or Carlsberg or something like that.
Yeah, exactly.
But as far as what Stone has done, I'm super happy with it. And even and I'm not one of those kind of like hipster guys where I'm like, no, I only like it because it's small. It's a small place. Because they have this, the Scorpion Bowl.
And they come out with like new collaborations and new styles and variations like weekly.
Yeah,
Like
no.
every time I go in the store, I'm like, what is this new Stone beer?
So I used to live in Pasadena, and they have the Stone Company store, and it's kind of like a flagship store from their brewery in San Diego,
Really?
and that's in Pasadena. Oh yeah, you got to go. But it was, and I would want to say, and the guys who work there are amazing. If you guys are ever listening, you guys are great. But
We're talking about you, Carl.
they have their standard beers, their standard Stone beers. But I want to say every 1 to 2 weeks they'll bring something in that it has been an experimental batch. Now, and with the experimental batch, they'll tell me, they'll be like, yeah, oh hey, we're getting this in. We're only getting 2 kegs of it. Now that's the Stone store.
Yeah.
And Stone Brewery is only giving the Stone store 2 kegs. So this is a straight experimental batch. And actually, I wish I would have had more time today before the podcast, because I actually wanted to go and get a growler filled. And it was the Delicious, which is, tied-ish with the Scorpion Bowl for my favorite beer.
Huh.
But it's a guava, and I want to say
Ooh,
it's
I like
a
the
Stone
fruit.
Delicious with guava and hibiscus.
Ooh,
Really?
Yes.
I'm
That
hit or
sounds like a
miss.
taste.
I think that was it. But it was something in that direction. But it was kind of like, oh my God, this is.
I'm hit or miss with the hibiscus because I've had something before with it, and it reminds me of like that coppery taste of blood.
Really? You must have some.
So.
Or maybe I'm not thinking of hibiscus. Maybe I'm thinking of blood.
I mean,
No, I had there's a beer called like
No,
something's
I know
hips
what you're
or
talking
something's
about.
lips
Yeah,
or
I know what you're talking
Rosemary's
about.
hips.
Yeah.
And it had hibiscus in it. That was the first beer I ever had with
Yeah,
hibiscus.
well,
I was like, it tastes like blood
Now,
in my mouth.
there are certain reds that I've
Okay.
had, and oddly
Yeah.
enough, reds that I've been like, this has that kind of coppery iron
Yeah,
taste
it's
to
like
it.
you have like a spoon in your mouth.
Exactly, or you're
Yeah.
sucking on pennies.
Ooh, my favorite pastime. Abe Lincoln, get in my
Best
mouth.
way to get them clean.
All right, that's enough about beer. So let's move on to the actual stuff that I'm going to be using as clickbait for this. It's Serenity Firefly. Fooled ya. You just spent the past 25 minutes.
Yeah, clickbait.
All right, so where am I? Here I am. All right, so let's talk about how you guys came across Firefly, because I'm sure it's the story of everyone. You didn't watch it when it was on the air because otherwise it would have done okay. Everyone kind of found it in its re-syndication, in its DVD releases. Where were you guys in your life when you came across this franchise?
I will go first because I probably know the least about it compared to you two.
Okay.
I've only seen the show through once and the movie through like once or twice, but I really enjoyed it. Is it Nathan Fillion or
Yes,
Fillion?
yeah.
Okay, did get it right.
Nathan Fallon, brother of Jimmy.
Nathan Phallic.
Yeah. So I became a big fan of his because of that show.
Yeah.
I even little side note, like, did you ever see that? Like, it was like 3 episodes on like Fox. It was like called like The Driver or something like that. Like the main character. It was like
No.
it was like a bunch of people getting like blackmailed and having to drive cars across the country, and it was super interesting.
Oh,
but it
yeah.
lasted like 3 or 4 episodes. Then it
I
was
do remember that.
Gone.
Wasn't it? It was like a thing where you could win like $1 million or
Yeah.
something. It was
But
like the rat
but
race.
But
Yeah,
it was like
I
rat
do
race,
remember
but
that.
also a little bit of blackmail too.
Yeah, I totally remember that.
And it was, I loved the first 3 episodes, and then just like
Was he in that?
Yeah, he was like the main character.
Oh my gosh, I don't even
my
remember
gosh.
that. I remember the show premise and I remember watching it.
It was like
I remember
it
who
was
was in
so good, and then just Fox just dropped it. No.
Well, that's
questions
Fox's
asked.
MO, really. They
Yeah.
they get stuff that's you can tell is going to be really good, and then there's like, meh. It's like what I thought they were going to do with the Orville. I was like, ah, crap, another show that I love that they're going to get rid of after one
Redenbacher?
season. Yes, there's a
Come
whole.
get some popcorn.
It was a whole show.
it was a how it's done about popcorn.
Yeah,
That's all it
exactly.
was.
A
This is
biopic
how we
television
make the
show for
molasses.
popcorn. It was great.
bag in the microwave.
And they're like, "What is this microwave he keeps talking about?"
Label side up.
But yeah, side tangent aside, my older brother, who is like the prototypical bad kind of nerd, like walked around in high school wearing a Indiana Jones hat and leather jacket in show choir kind of.
So like a normal high schooler now.
Yes, but back before it was acceptable, and
Back
it was
before
like
hipsters were a
I
thing?
don't know this guy.
Yes.
And he was like the biggest nerd I've ever met in my entire life, and he watched it. And usually everything he watches, I'm like, no, it sucks. But I just decided to watch it, and it was really, really good. I mean, growing up, I love Star Wars and that kind of stuff. So, the kind of space nostalgia kind of stuff like that.
It's really the only like besides Cowboy Bebop, the only like sci-fi western that really actually worked. They've
Yeah.
tried it a few times, never really works out.
Yeah, and like I love that the combination of those two genres because it's such like
Well, they did it in a great way that there's no aliens. It's literally
Yes.
like space adventure without the space adventure, and I
Yeah.
used air
Yeah.
quotes.
Yeah, it almost makes it more realistic because you don't have all the creatures and puppets of Star Wars.
And it was a great premise that they really spent most of their time on the Outer Rim planets, where it was
Yes.
very like backwater, because you were able to get away with a lot more. It felt more organic and realistic.
Well, and what I think was important about that is say Star Trek, right? You as great as Star Trek is and great as Star Wars is, it's hard to personally connect with those stories. Maybe the struggle in itself, of good versus evil or whatever it might be. But it's like
Geographically, it's hard to.
Wait,
yes,
wait. You're
exactly.
telling me your dad never tried to cut off your hand?
No. I mean, maybe
No.
in a drunken rage once or twice with a Swiss Army knife, but
But hey, that's in the past.
but that's why I loved Firefly is because
Yeah.
it was, as far as a sci-fi show goes, it was kind of believable.
Yeah.
And that's why I loved it.
Yeah, no, I agree. I feel like the main thing that drew me to it was not necessarily the plot and the world. It was more the characters and the kind of whatever word I'm looking for between them, how they interacted and everything. Just their
dynamic.
dialogue, their dynamic,
Yeah.
like their bantering. It was all just.
Yeah.
It felt real. It felt
Yes.
good.
Yeah, there was a wide variety.
Yeah, it was just great, and the humor was on par. Like
it was so
Jane
good.
Cobb.
Yeah.
the
Oh my gosh.
most humorous guy in the world, but the driest.
The pilot, right?
No, that's Wash.
He is my.
Jane
Steve
Cobb is the
Wash is
one with
great.
the hat.
The beanie, which
Oh,
I
yeah,
own,
Yes,
and
of
I
course.
should have brought it.
I know you should have
that
worn
would
it
have been
today.
I've got
really
that the knit hat, and I've got a Jane Cobb shirt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jane Cobb
Oh,
is
yeah.
great.
That's pretty bad.
And I
Yeah.
think for a while you had your phone, your text message thing was, "I'll be in my bunk."
I'll be in my bunk. Yes, it was. I
was
will
great.
be in my bunk.
I'll be in my bunk. Yeah.
You know,
so,
and I've told my fiance that several times. I'll be in my bunk, and she has no idea.
has she not watched this?
We haven't had time.
Oh,
We haven't
well,
had
you're
time.
going to make time. Once you guys are successful doctors and nurses and all the medical stuff, you guys are
Yes.
going to make some time and watch this
when
show.
I'm not knuckle deep in a bullet hole.
Yes, exactly. Is that a sexual euphemism?
No, that's actually a reference to a true story.
Well, that's more depressing.
Next time on the podcast.
I bring happiness to this
Yeah.
podcast. As far as like where I first heard of Firefly, it was actually my brother was telling me about it. My brother was my brother's a paramedic, and when he was doing his paramedic internship, he was doing it up in like Lancaster, and he had this old like cowboy paramedic preceptor, and this guy was like a fat lip of chewing tobacco. He wore a cowboy hat in the ambulance.
Nice.
And this guy, I mean, he's an older guy. He kept telling my brother, hey, you got to watch this show. It's about cowboys in space, and so my brother finally watched it actually with
Because that's
his
not
preceptor.
selling it a lot right there.
Well,
like
it-
that description sounds very crappy.
A life-saving ambulance driving cowboy in an ambulance tells you to watch a cowboy
That
in
is
space
true.
show.
You watched a cowboy.
You
in
watched
space
the cowboy
show.
in space
That is
show,
very
and
true.
so my brother actually was telling me after he did that, he's like, hey, and so my brother watched the whole season and was like, was telling me, dude, you got to watch this, you got to watch this, you got to watch this. So several years went by, and I kept telling him, all right, the cowboys in space, are you
Yeah.
kidding me? And then I finally watched it, and it was the type of thing where I finished it. When I saw the final episode, and this was actually before I knew that Serenity was even had
Connected
anything
to
to
it
do
or
with
anything,
it.
yeah.
And so I remember finishing it and sitting there and just going, what do I do now?
Mhm.
What do
I
I, do
want
now?
more.
Yeah, and then I just watched it again.
Yeah.
The whole season through.
Because it's great. Yeah, you can watch it multiple times and it's great. And
Yeah.
I feel like you find something a little bit new, like the nuances when you're
Yeah.
watching
Oh,
it
yeah.
again and everything.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I was very similar in that sense. I heard I was hanging out with a friend in the mid 2000s who was telling me about this movie Serenity, and then I kind of looked into it more, and I kind of just happened to stumble upon Firefly when it was syndicated on Sci-Fi Channel, and then that's kind of how I got introduced to it. And I watched a few episodes and I really liked it, so I went out and I bought the DVD, and then later bought the Blu-ray, and then watched the movie, and then got all that stuff, and kind of just slowly got into it. But I was another one of those people that helped it fall victim to getting canceled. Unfortunately, I wish I would have known when it came out, because I would have been like, "Come on, we got to keep this thing going."
Keep the signal going.
So, what do you guys like more, the movie Serenity or the television show Firefly?
Ooh, definitely the TV show. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just because there's more content to it, or because you think it's
No,
better produced?
because okay, so I loved Serenity because it answered questions, but
Yes.
I know it answered questions because it was the end.
Got canceled.
Yes.
A lot of those things, the plot points they went into in the movie were plot points that were supposed to be hit in season 2.
Exactly. It's and I remember we've had many conversations
Yeah.
about this of all, like, I remember when I saw it and I was just like, oh my, not the show, not Serenity, but Firefly, and just going, this is easily a 10-season
for sure.
thing
Yeah.
because of all the characters they've already introduced and the different
You wanted to
plot
learn more
lines.
about those crazy people with the blue gloves and summer
And then,
river
and
system.
then, and I remember a point was Niska. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh my gosh, they just introduced this really
This
bad,
Russian
sinister
guy,
character, Russian guy, and I
Oh.
forget who he gets played by, but he's amazing. I love him.
And that was a great episode where like they're being tortured and they're kind of like
Yes.
fighting with each other,
Yeah.
but pushing each other along like that.
about Zoe.
Yeah,
And it's just
exactly.
great.
That's
And-
great.
But it's the thing about it is like there was so so it's, well, definitely that. I'll keep my answer kind of shorter on that. But,
Yeah.
but it was definitely the Firefly the show, because it's like I think I liked Serenity, and I liked pretty much all of it, but it was just I knew that Serenity was there to answer questions to close the door.
Well, my biggest problem with when the show ended, and we all watched it in order, so it's not like we don't have this perception of people who actually watched it when it was on air where it's just all jumbled and confusing. You want to go for the next one?
Well, sorry not to interrupt.
Yeah, you guys can pour it for
right.
yourself, and I'll get mine in 1 second. Then,
Also, I had no idea we weren't opening all 3 at once, so I do apologize. for
you're
that,
fine.
That free.
Hey, more beer is totally fine.
I was like, we're not doing. Oh,
Okay. Yeah, so like we all have the perception of watching it actually in order, so we didn't get messed up with the whole watching it out of order like they did on Fox. But the final episode that never got aired but was on the DVDs is I forget the name of it, but the one with Jubal Early.
Not Lost in Space.
Not Trash in Space.
No, it's not Trash.
Trash is the
was
one where they
before
steal
that.
the
yeah,
thing,
they
yeah.
steal the gun. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Whatever. The episode with Jubal Early, which was the last one. I wanted to know more about that character. I know he technically kind of gets killed off in that. They bring him back in the comic and everything.
Okay, yeah.
But I was like, I love Jubal Early. Jubal Early is my spirit animal. This is amazing.
He's great. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, he's amazing. And actually, I don't know if you were gonna discuss this, and I don't want to
No, go
blow it.
We're going all over.
Yeah,
I like it.
No.
Yeah.
But actually, Jubal Early, if you watch the episode again and you look at his ship, and this is what I actually wanted to just kind of talk about, with this was of all the Easter eggs, and that's actually one of the reasons I loved Firefly.
Yeah.
And then Nathan Fillion shows afterwards are these little Easter eggs. But if you look at Jubal Early's ship, sorry. It has obvious inspiration from of Boba Fett's Slave One.
Yeah. Because bounty
I
hunters.
never thought about that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's and I love the correlation.
Well, I like that you bring that up real quick, because I'm going to go off on a little tangent here.
Yeah, go.
So that's not the only Star Wars reference. There was a lot of Star Wars stuff that influenced this.
Yes.
And one of the coolest things I found is that Han Solo in Frozen Carbonite showed up many a time in the background. And I have a little picture here of
goodness.
Kaylee chilling in her room. And right back here
I did not know that.
is
That is excellent.
That is Han Solo and Carbonite just chilling in her room right there.
That
a
is
little
pretty
miniature
cool.
of it. So that showed up a few times. So they took a lot of Joss Whedon took a lot of
Show the people.
inspiration. Well, I'm gonna post it on the video. It'll pop up on the video. You're all good. You just saw it.
It'll be
Yeah. Here, somewhere. Yeah. So you're right. There was a lot of inspiration drawn from Star Wars, which is probably considered one of the Star Wars Star Trek debate, one of the best sci-fi series ever created. A lot of people draw their inspiration from that.
Yeah.
But what about you, Krager? Did you like the movie or the television show more?
The movie, it's honestly, it's kind of in between. I liked them both because you guys have brought up a great point. Like one is more like telling a little bit of story. The movie, is just answering stuff because they know they aren't going to.
And the movie's easy to digest, like watch too. Like you can sit down in a night and watch the movie. Where like the TV show, you got to give it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like you're not watching 12 hours of material in one night. I mean, maybe you are. I'm not.
Yeah, and it's also the production value. From movie
yeah.
to TV show, a little bit different. So, I think it's because I watched the movie before the TV show.
Yeah.
That's why I have a little bit more.
Was
of
it
an affinity.
confusing watching the movie before the TV show?
No, it held up pretty well.
I guess they do like a little bit of a prologue at the beginning there and kind of get you up to speed with like, here's what River was going through and what's going on, and these guys are on the run and everything.
I definitely wish I had watched the show before the movie.
Yeah.
definitely would have made the experience a little bit more enjoyable. Although it was extremely enjoyable, all things considered.
But it makes a little bit more sense
Yeah.
because I'm sure figuring out who Shepard is, the Shepard book,
Yeah,
that probably
gosh,
confusing in the movie, being like, who the heck is this guy? Like, what's
Yeah.
going on? And then why do I care he died? I just saw him like 5
Exactly.
minutes ago.
Exactly.
Which spoiler, fun fact about that though, the only reason that Alan Tudyk's character Wash and Ron Glass's character Shepard Book died in the movie is because they were the only two actors that couldn't sign a deal for a sequel. So
Oh my gosh, are you serious?
yeah, so the network was like, if whoever doesn't sign a deal for a sequel in case we want to make another one, you have to kill them off, Joss Whedon. Have to not kill them off, but write them out in some way that they
my
won't be there
goodness.
for that. So that is the only reason we could still have Hoban Washburn hanging out, doing awesome stuff. But I was actually just
Flying.
talking about this today. So what do you guys think?
Okay.
Do you think it's too late to do a continuation of Firefly at this point? Because I was talking to a friend of mine today, and we were talking about Alan Tudyk. It would be a bummer not to have him in the show. And I said, you can bring him back. He just did in Rogue One. He played a droid.
Yes.
K2SO. What you could do is, if it's 20 years in the future, they've created this kind of clunky droid type of stuff that helps on ships, but they haven't really perfected it, so they kind of have a personality, like the program's not perfect.
Yeah.
And then you can have Alan Tudyk kind of have his personality show through in this,
Oh,
and like,
that would be a great
or do something
idea.
where they tweak it to make it sound like Wash, like, oh, like Mal like had someone do some hacking on it, and it's like, oh, it's like Wash.
They're in
Burn,
space.
you know, like-
They can do that.
Exactly.
Yes, and you know what'd be funny is have the this robot or droid
Mm-hmm.
that is voiced by Alan Tudyk. He will every once in a while, when people aren't really paying attention, says a line,
Yeah.
like inevitable betrayal,
Yeah.
or something like that.
Leave on the Wind. Although that's like Leaves on the Wind is a little
That-
like in your
that-
face.
That's like right in your face.
Yeah.
But you know, take subtle lines that Wash
Yeah.
during Firefly said, or you know, kind of those key things that people remembered, like oh god, we're all gonna die.
Yeah.
Like have the droid say that.
For sure.
That
that would be great. I thought of that as like really cool. And I also thought too, so in the comic continuation, Zoe is pregnant and she has a girl, correct?
Yeah,
A girl.
I think so.
Well, if you switch that up and made it a boy and you cast someone who kind of had an Alan Tudyk style of humor
Yeah.
and write those lines and kind of also have that in it then as well, where like
Yeah.
little Wash is there. Like
Yeah.
he's kind of like the immature,
Yeah.
angsty version of Wash would be kind of fun too. Although
Yes.
I don't. It's really hit or miss with that because you have to cast it right, you have to write it right.
It's with kid actors, it's really
hard.
kind of difficult because like you know they can come off as incredibly cheesy. It's like
but Stranger Things, everything sucks.
no,
There's a lot of shows now
it's
with
true.
great kid actors.
yeah. If you do it like Stranger Things, where the kids really hold their own, but I mean, how many shows have you seen
hard.
with children actors?
true.
And you're just like,
Yeah.
you know, especially something as serious. Well, to me, it's serious. Firefly. It's like I would be very upset if this child actor was just not prepared.
Yeah.
I mean, I gotta say, honestly, in our day and age where nothing's original anymore, you just like redo, refilter, and put stuff back out there. I'm surprised something hasn't already come out. You know, especially because he's been on that one show. What show was he on?
Who?
No, Billion?
Castle?
Yeah,
Billion?
Castle.
yeah.
I'm surprised at how popular that show is.
It was huge. That's why I feel like the reason they didn't want to do anything with it is because Joss Whedon's like, I want everyone there. I want everyone committed. I need to be committed. Joss Whedon was doing a million huge blockbuster products at the time because he had his hands in the Marvel universe and all that. So I feel like now it feels like everyone's kind of slowed down. Nathan Fillion's not in Castle anymore. Joss Whedon's really not in the spotlight anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, Summer Glau, Sean Mayer, Ron Glass, none of them have really done anything big. Morena Baccarin is on Gotham, but I mean, let's be honest. Just kick her off that and bring her over to
You know,
Firefly.
yeah.
I'd be fine with that.
And she's Deadpool's wife.
That's
Girlfriend.
true,
Girlfriend.
but hey, she doesn't show up in the movie too much,
No.
so she could film that pretty
also,
quickly.
her best role yet. I mean, let's be honest, she was incredible.
As Inara.
In
Deadpool? Yeah,
Oh,
oh,
yeah.
gosh.
You think so? I don't know. I wasn't a huge fan of Deadpool. I think people hyped it up for me so much before I saw it,
okay.
and it's just one of those things where I'm like, guys, I wish I could have just went into this blind, and I probably would have liked it a little bit
Yeah,
more.
okay, I can see that.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Yeah,
And
I see its merits. I'm not saying it was a
Yes.
bad movie. I didn't enjoy it as much as everyone else enjoyed
okay.
it.
All right. Yeah,
That makes sense.
I loved it just because it was so gratuitous.
Well, it was gratuitous, and I love fourth wall breaking. That's probably one of my
Yes, it's
favorite things
great.
ever.
That was
like
good.
in Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that's one of my favorite like sitcom lines ever. Is when he's like talking to the audience, and he goes, "If we're so rich, why can't we afford a ceiling?" And they point up, and like there's no ceiling on the set, and I'm like, "That is amazing. I love that."
great.
So that kind of stuff, I love that.
Yeah.
But yeah, so final yay or nay, continuation of Firefly next year. Yay or nay?
Oh God. Yes.
Okay.
I have to say yes.
Okay.
I have to.
All right, Craig.
I'd see it.
All right, I like it. I'll do a unanimous yay as well.
Yes.
I think if you can get the whole cast together, you can get Joss Whedon psyched about it, and you can get Fox to like back behind them, and be like, "We'll give you at least 2 seasons. Write a cool long story."
Yeah.
I'd be all for it.
You know, as long as it applies to the age of the actors.
Yes.
Like it's. I don't want it to
Exactly.
be like, oh, this is 1 year after Firefly the season.
No, because that
ended.
wouldn't make sense.
No, exactly.
And the other thing that I would hate for them to do is just pandering. Like, I feel Force
Yes.
Awakens was the biggest pandering
Oh, really?
phenomena I've ever seen in my life. I like the movie, still watch it. I'm a huge Star Wars fan, but I felt like it was like fan service for the sake of fan service, and I'm just not. I'm like, guys, give me something real, give me something organic. I don't really care. I don't really care about hey, bazing, like the tagline or whatever. Like I like just give me something good. So I'm gonna say a yay with a grain of salt.
With a grain of salt.
Yeah.
A little sodium.
that
chloride.
right?
Yeah, I have a sodium problem. So the next thing I want to mention, we're gonna go into a little bit of a trivia around here. I like to keep things a little bit interactive with this. So
I'm going
you
to do
people
so bad.
listening, well, that's what I want to mention before we go into this. So Tim and I are huge fans of Firefly.
Yes.
Watched it multiple times. We
Oh,
thought we were
jeez.
the coolest, the best at the Firefly and Serenity trivia,
Oh,
and
my
we
God.
paid to
remember
go
this.
to Iron Triangle Brewery and do a Geeks Who Drink that was solely on Firefly and Serenity. And we went with 2 other friends
we
too.
We were so confident.
We were so confident. We were like, we don't even need to watch a show again right now. Like, we know all this stuff. We get there. We bombed so freaking hard.
Oh, my God.
Like,
Yeah.
those questions were impossible. One of the rounds was, we're going to play you a clip from the movie, or from the TV show. What moon did this take place on? And then they would play
Yeah.
you like a quote, and they'd be like, "What are the 5 words that come after this?"
No,
and
no,
we're
no.
like,
It
"What
was
the
not 5
No,
words.
one of them
it
was like 12
13
words.
or 14
They'd be like,
words.
"Finish the sentence,"
And you're
I'm
like, okay.
and it wasn't the easy ones like, "I aim to misbehave." Like
Misbehave,
people know
yes.
that. Like, no, it was like. They were random monologues or like conversations they were having in like the cargo hold. Like, I don't even pay attention to these parts because they literally
Yeah.
had nothing to do with the show.
It's like, I love Firefly, but it's like, I don't know the script.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. I wasn't on the show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so it was really hard. So this is a little bit easier trivia for you guys.
Okay.
If you want to put money on this in Vegas, I'd bet on Tim.
Oh,
Yeah.
I would not.
Tim
I'm not a
probably knows
gambling
more
man.
about it than me, and I
Oh.
think you guys will get some of these right. So, or most of these right.
I should
so,
be wearing my Jane hat.
Yeah, right. So we're gonna you're gonna buzz in with the word shiny
Shiny.
when you know it. So I'm gonna read the question.
Okay.
All right. So the first question here is, who did a young Zac Efron play in the episode Safe?
Shiny.
Mm-hmm.
He played a young Dr. Simon Tam. Not
is-
doctor at that time.
That is correct, Simon Tam.
Yes.
And do you remember one of the questions we had on the trivia night was, what was the internet called there? I don't remember off the top of my head, but I remember we got it wrong.
Oh, the server?
No, it was like the Cortex.
Cortex.
Is that what it is? Cortex?
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember him saying a line about like, I can't get on the Cortex for like or whatever. That's my Zac Efron, everyone.
Yeah, I'm almost
It
positive.
was spot on.
So this one's actually a really hard question.
Oh, jeez.
Do you know the full name of the Alliance? The legit name of the Alliance?
Ooh, no.
No.
So what's the opposite of shiny?
Dole.
Penny.
Yeah.
Penny.
You don't got anything either? So it is the Anglo-Sino Alliance.
Oh, because of the Chinese
Well,
influence.
it moves into my next question.
Oh, here we
What
go.
are the 2 major governmental powers that are merged between
China.
for the Alliance? Yes.
The U.S. and the Chinese.
That is correct. The Chinese and American governments.
And I thought that was so cool how they would
Mm-hmm.
they would use Chinese phrases.
Which, fun fact, those Chinese phrases when they cursed were real cursed
Yes,
phrases because
real.
they had to get around
Yeah.
the censor somehow, and they used real Chinese
so
curse
instead
words.
of dropping an F-bomb,
Mhm.
they would actually, they would curse in Chinese or Mandarin or it might have been Mandarin, I don't know specifically, but it was just like
Yeah.
I was like, that is so brilliant because
Yeah.
they're still cursing and
And they got
you
around
know
the
what they're-
censor.
like you don't speak Chinese or anything like
But
that,
you know what's being said.
you know what's being
Oh, for
said.
sure.
I loved it.
A little side note here. I'm drinking the Ruination now. I used to love Ruination. That Scorpion IPA was so much better.
Yes, yes.
Like, that just like wrecked my taste buds. What's going on
and we
there?
still have the
I like it.
space
The
dust.
Elysian. Love Elysian. All right, moving on to the next question. The Alliance soldier uniforms were repurposed from what 90s sci-fi movie?
Oh, I know this. Oh my God.
Oh,
Is that an earthquake?
Oh,
No, you're fine.
sorry. Yes. I know this.
Oh, come on, guys. There's giant bugs in it.
Starship Troopers.
Yeah.
Yes.
Shiny.
Yes.
Starship
Oh,
Troopers.
wait.
I don't know. By technicality,
That's right.
Gregor
that's
might
right.
get that one.
Oh my God.
All right.
My only point.
I know Tim's going to get this one right away.
Okay.
So I'm going to say the question quick.
Okay. Quick.
What is Jane Cobb's favorite gun name?
Shane Vera.
You gotta say shiny.
Oh, I said Shane. Shiny.
Shane.
I'm thinking.
Yes.
I'm thinking of a boy
Jane
named
Cobb's
Shane.
favorite gun is named Vera.
Vera. Yes.
Now, here we're going back to the pilot episode.
Okay.
What fruit does Book give Kaylee that she suggestively eats in the pilot episode?
Shiny. Strawberries.
It is strawberries.
Oh,
Man, Gregor.
I have.
Sorry.
told you,
I
haven't
know.
seen this a little while. I should've
I knew
watched
Tim
it.
was going to kill on this.
As
one
soon
side.
I have never
this was
looked at
saying,
strawberries
we
the
paid
same
money
again.
to go to a thing. I'm like,
Yeah.
I don't know.
This is more for the viewers at home to be able to play a little fun trivia game along and see how well you guys do. How well did you do? Let me know in the comments. And don't forget to subscribe. All right, so we are moving on to the next question. What is Wash's real full name?
Oh man.
I just said it like
I
10
know
minutes
you
ago.
did. Oh my God.
That's where paying attention and taking notes in class helps you out.
oh man.
Holborn. Wash.
Washburn.
What do you think?
Washing machine.
Wait, are we just talking just like the full first name?
Full name.
Full name.
Not middle name. I don't think they ever give you that.
It's not Holborn Washburn. No.
You're close, but that's wrong.
Hoban Washburn?
It's
Jobin.
It's Hoban Roshburn.
Hoban Washburn.
Yeah,
that was it.
Hoban.
Oh my gosh. Because it's jumbly.
All right, and the final question.
Yes.
What planet did the Reavers originate from?
Shiny.
Yes.
Earth.
Nope.
Shiny. Miranda.
Miranda is correct. That was in the movie.
Yes.
They give you a little bit of a backstory of why.
Speaking of which, I loved that they did that.
Oh, it was great.
That-
But that was supposed to be in season 2. That was
Yes.
Joss Whedon's plan all along.
That was one of the points that I loved. that
But
they
we need to
addressed.
take this moment real quick to have a quick commercial break and a word from our sponsors.
Fruity OT bars make a man out of a mouse. Fruity OT bars make you bust out of your glass. Give them all the time. Let them blow your mind.
我很丢脸，我没有去过地方。
Fruity OT bars. Fruity OT bars.
I'm going to play the Fruity Odie Bar commercial right here.
Oh, nice.
I need to go watch this again. feel terrible right now.
All right. Well, now we're moving into like my fun facts area of this
Okay.
segment, and we're almost done here.
Do you have this fact here?
Which fact is it?
Where is it? Oh, NASA?
Yeah, I have that
You got
fact.
that
But you
here?
can mention that one right now.
Do you have this as well? Alien? Did you know that? Wayland-Yutani logo?
Yeah, I know that one too. I have that on there. I'll let you mention both those.
I thought I would.
I'll let you mention both
At
those.
least
So-
you brought paper
so,
and kicked my ass on the trivia. I was sitting here like, I don't know.
Hey, it's all good. You're here for the personality. We're here to
Yes.
banter. That's what we're here to
Let's
do.
be honest, that's not that great.
I don't know. I have 20 people that have watched the video so far. I mean, that's pretty good. Come
Yeah,
on. No, just
They
kidding.
watch it for Kipka.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. His flowing locks.
Oh my
So
gosh.
the first fun fact I had is that we all know Sean Mayer played Simon Tam.
Mm-hmm.
Great character. But the person who almost got that role was Neil Patrick Harris.
Really?
I can kind of see that.
Yes.
Yeah, I
can
could
kinda see
too.
that.
But
Neil
that's
Patrick
crazy.
Harris almost got that, but later he did work with Joss Whedon. I don't know if you've heard of it, Dr. Horrible's sing-along
Yes.
blog.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a fun one, and Nathan Fillion is in it as well. That's definitely a fun one. It's got a really depressing ending, but
Yeah.
it's a fun show, I guess, if you don't think about the ending too much. And then another fun fact: the theme song was written by Joss Whedon. The music
Really?
and the lyrics Joss
Really?
Whedon wrote.
Oh, wow.
Yeah,
That's
did not
impressive.
know he was that musically inclined.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
that's
cool.
pretty good.
You had already mentioned Fox aired the episodes out of order.
Yeah,
The first episode they aired was Train Job, which is a great
That's a great
episode,
I love
great
that
heist episode, really good. And the pilot, like I mentioned, was the last episode that was aired. Already said Star Wars has influenced Firefly, but besides the Han Solo and Carbonite, we can also see Imperial shuttles and Starlight intruders in various episodes in the background.
Yes.
Mostly when they're usually like near Alliance planets and stuff like that, since that's where they have
the
more of
bad
a
guys.
they have more of a congregation of ships, so they can kind of hide it in there a little bit better.
And the bad guys.
Yeah, and some more Easter eggs. So, do you want to mention the Wayland?
Yeah, no, so...
The alien reference?
Yeah, so there's an alien reference. It's in the, not the pilot episode because of, the scheduling issue.
Technically the pilot episode.
Yeah, but technically
But
the
not
pilot episode.
released first,
But
yes.
it's during the scene of the Battle of Serenity Valley where Mal jumps on the anti-aircraft gun to shoot down Alliance aircraft. Well, you can see in the display of this anti-aircraft gun the symbol for Weyland-Yutani, the logo or whatever, and it's just like it's amazing because it's like, oh my gosh, they're drawing. They've got the Han Solo and Carbonite, they've got this. It's like
They love their sci-fi properties.
Yeah, it's just so cool that they do that.
And speaking of space, do you want to move on to your next fun fact?
Yes, my next fun fact is in 2007, American astronaut Stephen Ray Swanson, and this is like legit. This astronaut smuggled a copy of Firefly, the DVD set, and Serenity in the spaceship that went to the International Space Station. So the International Space Station actually has copies of Firefly and Serenity.
Yep, it's part of their.
That's pretty cool.
Part of their legit library now for people who are up there.
And
so that's pretty cool.
So it's like you think about it, like he did that, but this isn't an astronaut. It's one of the smartest, most capable people in our country.
And he liked this show.
So
what you're saying is, by the transitive property, we are smart
He also
people.
had a pretty badass name too.
Yeah.
Yes.
I know
Yes.
it was.
Swanson.
Ray Swanson.
Ray Swanson.
Is that any affiliation with the guy
With
from
Ron?
Parking?
With Ron
Yeah,
Swanson?
Ron Swanson.
There
his
might
brother.
be.
His
There might
brother.
be.
Was he
But-
a space cowboy?
He could have been. But in addition to that, actually, it was the first selfie of in the International Space Station on Instagram was this astronaut, Ray Swanson, and he took a picture of himself with Earth behind him in the International Space Station, and he was wearing a shirt, a Serenity shirt with the Serenity ship on it.
Oh, that's pretty
Wow.
cool.
Yeah.
I did not know that one. Hey, you got a fun fact I didn't know.
There you go.
That's a good one.
No, it's
Look
like
at that.
That's
so
fun.
now you've got the astronaut wearing the ship, and it's just
That
amazing.
fact is
In space.
100% fun. I
It
love
is-
it.
It is fun.
So my last one here. Do you guys know what episode was the last episode to be filmed? And was never aired on television, actually.
Oh,
There were 3 episodes that
I
weren't
should
aired.
know this.
Trash and Heart of Gold were 2 of them, and then this third one was the last episode that was filmed and never aired as well, which is actually probably one of the more gut-wrenching and emotional episodes that they have. Not a lot of action, but a lot of diving into the character's past.
I think I remember the episode. I just never bothered to learn the names of these
Yeah.
episodes.
yeah. Yeah. I'm gonna have to.
It's the message. It's the one where they have the box. They get the box and they find out it's their friend from the Battle of Serenity
that's
Valley,
right.
and
Oh.
he's trying to get
What's his
smuggled
name?
across. I forget his name. But yeah, it was a big emotional thing. They have a funeral at the end, and they actually the person who made the music for the television series wrote this specifically as a funeral song because it was the last one they knew they were ever going to film. So it was kind of like a goodbye to the television show as well.
Oh my gosh, really?
So that funeral was kind of symbolic in the sense they were burying the show as well.
Oh my God, that is so sad.
Yeah,
That's
it's very.
deep.
So now go watch that show and that episode and try not to cry.
I'm definitely gonna cry.
So my personal favorite thing I want to touch on here before we end, and it's not part of Firefly, it's not part of Serenity. It was kind of an internet viral ad campaign for the movie. Was the River Tam sessions? Do you guys know what I'm talking about? No.
I do
No,
not.
sir.
Okay, so the River Tam sessions were a few short episodic things released on the internet where it showed River Tam when she started the program with an interviewer who was played by Joss Whedon, and he was interviewing her. And you see in the first episode she's very light and fun-hearted and not like the River we see in the show. And as you move on and she's in the program, they're slowly wearing her down and she's becoming more schizophrenic. Her psychic abilities are being tapped into, and she can't handle it.
Yeah.
And it ends with one of the last episodes of it. She's kind of like, I need a mission. I need a mission. Like, you haven't given me a
my
mission.
gosh.
And
Wow.
then
I gotta find those.
the very last episode. Okay, I won't ruin it for you then.
Okay, yeah,
Go
yeah, yeah.
watch
No,
the
no,
River
no.
Tam
Where-
sessions.
where can we find
on
these?
YouTube?
Okay.
It's a special. It's on the DVD and the Blu-ray as well if you own those. But if you go on YouTube, it's 5 episodes, I think, and they're literally like 2 minutes apiece. They're very, very short.
Yeah, okay.
The River Tam sessions, they're number 106, number 1. It's for the day
Oh,
that she's
wow.
in the
Yeah.
program, and it's just this dark person who you never really see, but you can totally tell it's Joss Whedon's voice.
Yeah.
Is interviewing her as she's going through the program,
Huh.
and it ends in a way where you're like, oh, okay, that's
I'd-
why she's where she is
I
now.
might go do that
Yeah,
tonight.
all you guys do that too.
Yes.
Homework.
You know, it's funny. It's like, that whole trope of the kind of like this academy or the government. It's like that's actually Firefly is the first thing I thought of when actually watching Stranger Things,
Yeah, that's true.
where you've got the whole MK Ultra thing going on, where it's this government training of a young girl or young children. I'm sure there's more, but it's like that was
for like an
kind of this-
impending war.
Yeah, but especially harnessing
Psychic abilities.
psychic
Oh, yeah.
abilities. What 11 has in Stranger Things.
I feel like 11 is just like a younger version of River.
Almost it's almost kind of this similarity, and then on top of that, it's not quite as known, but Alma Wade from the Fear video games.
You were telling me about that.
Yeah,
I never personally played them, but you were
They're
you
terrifying.
were yeah,
But-
you were telling me they're good.
Yeah, but it's kind of this. I mean, Fear it's much more gruesome, and like
It's an older property though, right?
awful. Yes, but it's kind of that similar trope of this government institution.
Yeah.
Harnessing and training this psychic ability, and it's like, yeah, MK Ultra.
Doesn't Fear stand for something in the video game? Isn't it like a program or
yeah,
something?
No. It's the team it's the military team that responds to anomalous activity or
Yeah.
anomalous situation. It's First Encounter Assault Recon.
I always love when like they randomly make it work out. It's like when
Yeah,
Shield, they're like the strategic home
Yes,
something
I know,
defense or
right.
whatever, and they're like, how convenient.
I know,
Like Maggie.
what?
Maggie.
Maggie?
Brother.
Yeah.
Yeah, or imagine if instead of the A in
Make
Shield.
adjustments, go get it, energize. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but yeah, no. It's like I love it when that all lines up. It's like, yeah, we're Fear.
Yeah,
we're First Encounter
exactly.
Assault Recon.
My favorite thing ever is then like the Shield and Marvel, and then there's like, but we have Sword.
Yeah.
What the hell does that stand for? Come on. So yeah, that is our take on Firefly and Serenity. If you haven't seen it and you listen to this whole thing, you're dumb, but go watch it still. It's amazing. And for those of you who've seen it, we've learned today that by osmosis, we are smart and astronauts. So
are.
that's great. So again,
I actually worked for NASA for like 2.5 months. So I worked on stuff that went into space.
I was
the graphic
designer of the website.
did you work on that satellite that just fell into the Pacific Ocean like a week ago?
No, that was
Yeah, I know.
That was Chinese.
That's what we call a joke.
Oh, a badunch.
And on that note, again, follow us on Instagram, Twitter, go to the YouTube, subscribe, check us out on iTunes podcast app. And until next time, we'll see you later.
Bye.